Masal khair, good evening. So it's a pleasure and a privilege to be with all of you tonight for this wonderful occasion. It's a special honor to have our alumnus, the former Prime Minister of Jordan, and His Highness Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak with us this evening. I want to thank Dr. Abdullah Ansur and His Highness Sheikh Nahyan for being with us, our ambassador and the ambassador of Jordan. This is a special evening because I think it's our first event here with you in Abu Dhabi in several years. Although we who are in Lebanon and the region continue to face extraordinary challenges, I want to give you a bit of a message of hope tonight. I'm proud to be able to report that, as Jesse just said, the American University of Beirut, far from struggling, is actually thriving. Despite and because of the financial collapse of Lebanon, we are providing substantial aid, financial aid and other support to approximately 89% of our students. 22% were educated for free, and around 65% averaged about 55% financial aid. So last year, we awarded more than $110 million in financial aid, despite bringing in $70 million in tuition. With all of this, we just announced yesterday that as of July 1, we would restore faculty and staff salaries to the 2019 level, but this time in US dollars. So we've gone from having 25 people out of almost 7,000 being paid in US dollars to almost 6,000 people being paid in US dollars. I want to start by talking about the students because they are at the core of what we do. This year's recruitment cycle has been extraordinary, led by our Director of Admissions and Financial Aid, Dr. Antoine Sabbagh, who's here and is performing miracles. In the highest recorded year in AUB's history, we had just under 5,500 undergraduate, actually 5,450 undergraduate applications before the crises. This year, between Beirut and Paphos, we have 6,750, so more than 20% more than the previous record. So people are clearly seeing value, and the vast majority of that, 6,750, are people who are applying to AUB in Beirut. These numbers are a powerful testament to the university's enduring reputation, and not just for academics, and I'm going to talk about that. With regard to academics and job creation, and job pursuit, we rank number one by some margin in the region, but importantly, the ratings only tell you so much. What our ratings tell us is that people want to hire AUB graduates, especially here, that AUB graduates lead companies, and that AUB graduates are tolerant and work well with others. I read a speech, I think 5 years ago, by Sheikh Nahyan, where he said, "Tolerance is like oxygen." And he was speaking to high school students. He said, "Tolerance is like oxygen, and the people of the UAE are the trees helping equally to produce the oxygen of tolerance." That tolerance has never been more needed in the Middle East than today, where we are witnessing every day the tragedies of the war on Gaza. That's another aspect that we bring to bear, which is our outstanding medical facility, where having lost 39% of our physicians and 33% of our nurses, we are on track to be fully staffed by this winter, and we have already restored our nursing expertise. And to the point where a couple of days ago, we received the first child from Gaza, a 5-year-old who lost his father, his sister, and many members of his family. And this child, who came to the AUBMC, was somewhat traumatized not just by what happened to him and his family, but his previous hospital experience. When we checked on him the next day, he was smiling and he said, "This is not a hospital, this is a hotel." And that's the kind of care we want to provide to our patients, to look after them so that they feel that they are at ease, but with the expertise of patient-centric care. While our faculty publish in top journals, and our physicians and nurses take care of some of the most ill and injured patients in the world, we continue to attract more and more research funding and more foundation support and donations. But I want to hearken back to one of our largest donations and the largest endowed chair we have today. In the early 1970s, a visionary, the founder of this republic, Sheikh Zayed, contributed the endowment to the Sheikh Zayed chair, which is now held by Bilal Ka'farani. With a corpus of $15 million, this allows us to publish world-class research in Arabic and in other areas. So these are some of the many accomplishments that remind me of the concept of anti-fragility as defined by one of AUB's 2016 honorary doctorate recipients, Nassim Nicholas Talib. Dr. Talib's work, which I know is well known to most of you in this room, talks about the capacity of organizations to thrive as a result of stressors, volatility, or failures. They are more than resilient, they actually increase in strength in the face of stressors. I would argue that this is what we are doing at AUB. Last year we saw further proof of that. 3 of the 6 winners of the Kuwait Prize came from AUB, and 3 of the 6 winners of the inaugural Great Arab Minds Project, set up by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, also came from AUB, and they came from the fields of electrical engineering, chemistry, and architecture, with scholars who are in Boston, in Saudi Arabia, and in Paris. So although we are firmly and deeply rooted in Lebanon, AUB is expanding globally. As you heard, we have a new campus in Paphos, which has more than 100 students and hopefully close to 200 as of in a few weeks. We have launched AUB Online, which this year will reach 3,000 people. And we've acquired our first ever community hospital, the Kisarwan Medical Center, a new state-of-the-art faculty that is already the largest hospital in the Kisarwan region. Kisarwan, by the way, is the area in Lebanon with the lowest number of hospital beds per population. With all of this, it's a pleasure to remember the generosity of Sheikh Nahyan a few years ago, 8 short years ago, when just before the launch of our campaign, he reminded me of some of the promises that I had made in my inauguration. Now, with our capital campaign, Boldly AUB, the campaign to lead, innovate, and serve, about to close with $780 million, we are close to the end of that chapter and ready to prepare for the next one. We just convened a major technology conference in Palo Alto, where some of our entrepreneurs were. I'm happy to say that we've launched more than a dozen startups, 3 of which are now in Paphos, 1 of which is in Miami. The rest are between Lebanon and, as you might have guessed, the UAE. In the technology fields, in artificial intelligence, in the cutting edge areas where we have to make an impact, we are making plans to take bold steps, and we hope to announce these in September. So this bright path forward is being curated in this field based on pillars that span education, teaching and learning, research, and innovation across disciplines. But that is not reaching everyone. Like the young man who came to us at age 5 with trauma, there are people being left behind by the wars that are infesting this region. One of my favorite songs is the Robert Hunter and Jerry Garcia classic, Ripple. It's a staple of Grateful Dead concerts, and it ends with the haunting lines. You who choose to lead must follow, but if you fall alone. If you should stand, then who's to guide you? If I knew the way, I would take you home. Folks, we need to work together, to lead together, to ensure that fewer and fewer people are left behind. The greatest cause of societal strife is the growing disparity between those who have and those who have not. As Sheikh Nahyan pointed out as Minister of Education well before he became Minister of Tolerance, one of the most critical aspects to fostering peace is increasing educational opportunities. We have had perhaps a larger footprint in Jordan with regard to leadership than in any other country, where His Excellency the Prime Minister is one of 12 Jordanian prime ministers who attended AUB and one of 9 who have degrees from AUB. Jordan is one of the most stable countries in the region, although I must say it is surrounded by many unstable countries, north, south, west, east. So we need to know the way to take everyone home. Together we can do just that and ensure that the words from John 10:10 in the New Testament that are inscribed on the main gate, that they may have life and have it more abundantly, is not just for the fortunate individuals, many of whom are in this room, but for the societies they belong to and serve. Thank you. I want to close by thanking Engineer Khalil Joudi, President of the AUB Abu Dhabi Alumni Chapter, and all of the members of the chapter's executive committee for your warm hospitality. Thank you very much.